That did something? I should go check with the axle that it worked. Hope I'm not interrupting anything with her and the spindle.
So the curves of the metal...
I definitely think an enchanter had a hand in this, as well as someone with intimate knowledge of the loom gates.
Those two people could possibly be one person even. Though I can't fathom who it would be.
Keeping yourselves busy, I see?
It's a conundrum for the ages, that's for sure.
Ah, Bryn. You're back.
You've done amazing work with the resonance modulator. I'm certain this will be a turning point for us.
Thanks. But how do you know it worked?
The loom gate started glowing a strange color before you arrived. I took it as a hint that you'd succeeded.
Spoiled the surprise.
I'm sure the Surgeborn will be plenty surprised when they next try to use the loom gates.
Suffice to say, we're thrilled, Bryn. In a short time, you've done a lot to help us. We were, obviously, a little hesitant to trust newcomers.
Our first impression wasn't the best.
But now, we're in a much better situation when it comes to survival.
Happy to have helped. Without you two trusting me, I couldn't have achieved half as much. So thank you for letting me in. I'm glad to have gotten to know both of you.
It's been my pleasure, Bryn.
Likewise.
So, let's recap for a moment. 1, we've stopped Surgeborn from navigating the Loomgate network by using the resonance modulator. 2, we've made huge leaps forward in regaining control over the Arcs. 3, we've armed and supplied the Scouts.
It certainly doesn't cast our last decade of work in a forgiving light, does it?
Listen, you've been surviving this crisis for a long time the only way you knew how. But now you have a path to move forward. Your people can choose to follow it, or dwell on past mistakes. Are we ready to face this threat head-on together?
Yes. You're right. Of course you are. We're at the point, resource-wise, where we can start making moves.
I don't really want to speak to my father right now. But I agree that it's time we put pressure on him to do something. Regardless of what he does, you've earned our support, Bryn. But first, I'd actually like to steal Hirun for a while, if you don't mind. I have some notes to go over with her.
By all means. Have fun.
I suppose I'll just get right to it. Why do you treat me differently?
What do you mean?
Everyone else gets the stern you, the you who's in charge, the Axel. But I get the friendly face, the compliance, this you who I don't understand. Is it Because of my dad? Because everyone answers to him? Are you trying to get close to him through me? I can't handle it, Haroon. I need to know that I'm not just being manipulated by everyone around me.
It's not because of that.
Then... what is it?
I spend time around you because I want to. To see you, to speak with you, to work alongside you. To see the look in your eyes when you solve a problem. Skies, I shouldn't... None of this is... If we could find somewhere else, beyond the gaze of the hold...
Haroon. Stop. Take my hand. And we'll go. I have a place in mind. I didn't see it before, but I think... I would like to tell you of the ways in which you are important to me, too.
What's going on?
Arik, why don't you fill her in?
Our plan worked. The Eye is mobilizing the scouts for a large-scale attack on Surgeborn.
I take it the Axle and the Spindle put him up to this?
Yes. Not that Khan Stanild is admitting that. He claims that with the supply shortage taken care of and the Ark restoration underway, now is the time to strike.
And Bryn is receiving due credit for all her work, I'm sure.
No.
So what's his plan?
The scouts will stage a distraction in the underworks, while the Eye and the Spindle do something to the Grand Gate. That's all I know. The Eye wants everyone to convene at Cassidon's Hold for a speech to learn more.
He wants us there.
Khan Stanild loves an audience. Doesn't matter who's in it.
I thought you'd be happier about all this.
I have reservations about the Eye launching a plan using my scouts without consulting me.
The reality is, the leader of the Enclave has the power and influence we need to take a stand against the Surgeborn. Regardless of how likable the man holding the title may be.
Power and influence, sure, but not the expertise.
Ori is right. Whatever flaws the Eye has, he is ultimately doing what we've wanted him to do. If he wants to atone, we should give him that opportunity, even when it pains us.
It can't hurt to hear his big speech before jumping to conclusions.
I'm here to escort you. Talk to me when you're ready.
much of this building left, but looks like my lucky day. This tome's titled Disordered Thinking and Mental Anguish. Looks like an insert says, a herbalist in the market found success treating a variety of patients suffering from these types of afflictions. Better search the market next. So, what do you make of the Eye hiding the extent of the Surgeborn threat from his colleagues?
From what I can tell, the Eye wants the same thing as everyone else. Peace in the Enclave. He just has a different way of achieving it.
Right. But lying to his own daughter is hardly justified.
He didn't lie. He merely withheld information.
There isn't really a difference.
Sure there is. Lying is deceitful and often involves betrayal. But at times, secrets are needed for protection.
Who are his secrets protecting? Him or her?
Well, her, of course.
Sev, I'd be careful of people who withhold information. You don't know what they're keeping from you.
You've stirred up quite a bit of trouble.
Oh?
I've just read the brief from the last council meeting. The Eye is facing united opposition. Everyone's calling for him to make a move against the Surgeborn. Keep your weapons close, Bryn. Ready to head to Cassidon's Hold?
Still need more time.
I'm here when you're ready.
Now that we have a pattern tracer, it's time to head to Cassidon's Hold.
seriously telling me Carnhaven is now completely independent from Sans?
Don't forget to block.
Kaz, what's going on with the caravan?
What are you talking about?
You've got... Seriously, you look exhausted. When's the line you stopped?
Don't forget to block.
Sounds like your experiment with the loom gates went well.
With the axle and the spindle? Yeah, it turned out better than we could have hoped.
That's good news.
Are you worried about something?
Worried? No. Holding the infinite weave of possibilities in my mind. Do you think the resonance modulator could be used to keep certain kinds of people out of the Loomgate network too?
I'm really not sure. What makes you think about that?
I believe that the Eye would lock us out if he could. He has a great tactical mind, after all, even if we haven't exactly seen it in action yet. And he's made it clear that we're not exactly welcome guests, so it's not a huge leap, is it? Plus, we've handed these designs over to his daughter, of all people.
Well, you haven't had a chance to talk to Isla yet. At the very least, she'd give us a heads up. Why don't you talk to her sometime? I think you'd get along.
I suppose I should, yes. After my next round of experiments, perhaps. Speaking of, I should really get back to it. I'm glad to hear that all is not doomed, too. Thanks.
Not a problem.
So, we've spoken about stories. The kinds that are lost to time or war. But what about those stories that are yet to be written? What is the story of Bryn, Slayer of Surgeborn, point of Aurea Silverbeak's legendary Weaver Band?
I suppose that's me in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yes, but what else? I can't help but wonder whether there will be anyone else who's indelibly part of your story.
I'd need to have someone around to champion my exploits. Can't just hand out copies of my journal, can I?
Goodness! If only there was someone around who could shout your praises from the rooftops.
You never know. They could be right around the corner.
We shall have to keep an eye out.
Strand. Happy to weave that into your mantle.
Ready to head to Cassidon's Hold?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Great. Hey, while it's just the two of us, I'll be deploying to the Underworks almost immediately after we arrive. Watch Khan Stanild for me, will you? I know Oriel wants you to give him a chance, but he can't be trusted.
I'm always ready for anything, Eric.
I know. Let's move.
Decades of caution have been rewarded, friends. For this moment, and not one sooner, is the precise time to strike. Today, we wrangle our lands free from the Surgeborn's grasp and reclaim our hearth once more. Whatever it takes. None of this could be possible without the esteemed prowess of the Spindle. Her work on the Arks has laid the foundation for my plan. She and I will proceed to the Grand Gate at once. Scouts, you have your orders. It's time. Whatever it takes.
Bryn, you need to come with me.
Now?
Yeah, no time to explain. And Aurea, you should get on the scry.
All right. Whatever you need.
Let's go. Sev, I know you said there's no time to explain, but want to give me a clue as to where we're going?
So, obviously I've been working with the Eye. And well, he had me repair the Grand Gate. It's connected to this place called the Source, and I guess that's where the Surgeborn came from. He's got this plan to go there and solve this problem once and for all.
Right. I heard that part of the speech already. What does this have to do with us sprinting like an Ash-Peak Drake is on our heels?
So there's, it's better if I just show you.
Perfect. As punctual as you are daring.
Sev, what's going on?
I don't know.
Oh, don't blame him. He's merely a puppet. Ironic, given I'm the one all tangled up.
So you can talk?
Of course. Only language could allow me to prey upon Kenrick's exquisite inadequacies.
You've been talking to the Eye? Manipulating him?
Into a foolhardy and preposterous plan that only an absolute imbecile could think was worth pursuing, yes. I've been down here for years, laying groundwork and learning a good about your people. All towards a moment when I could convince Kenrick to act. I almost despaired he ever would. And then, along comes name's you.
Me?
Oh, yes. Kenrick is threatened by you. Terrified, even. In your brief time inside the Veil, you've accomplished so much more than he has in decades. Not that that's saying much. Still, you are the perfect catalyst for change. We have that in common, as you will discover in time. So now, he's going to open a gate to the heart of the Enclave, because he can recover it from us. And the one person I worry might be able to stop us is here, talking to me. You're fast, but even you can't run to the rescue now.
You've thought of everything. Except, why tell me all this?
Because you're too late to stop us. And even if you weren't, no one would believe you.
Sure. Unless they were listening.
Quit taunting it, Bryn. You've got work to do.
Tyler, we must retreat!
No! I'm staying to fix this. Do whatever you can to buy me time.
The spindle told her to buy time.
Let's hope Pilot doesn't take too long.
for much longer.
She needs to.
She can't be.
What? What's she doing to the Ark?
Hopefully not what I think she is.
Whatever it takes.
Spirits. Okay. Weavers have always dealt with problems like this. Well, not just like this, but yeah. We'll figure it out. Aurea, she'll know what to do.
Bryn, I cannot fathom how you must have felt in that fight against the Surgeborn.
As strange as it is to say, I had...
Yes. Tragedy about Isla. So much talent lost. Wasted, even.
He was always resistant to our efforts. Or maybe the Talon warned him of us, told him not to make contact.
Hey, Lane. How are you holding up?
I'm... fine. Just coming down from the stress of all this. I was... a bit worried about you, I'll admit.
Thanks for the concern. A little sore today, but no lasting injuries.
Good.
Are you sure you're fine?
I suppose I'm just recalling our interactions with the Eye. Looking for signs that he would... you know.
Summon a massive Surgeborn through a loom gate to Cassidon's hold?
Yes, that.
We'd all love to predict the future. But smart as you are, even you can't do that.
Isla would still hear if I could.
I know. She saved us all.
Scholars rarely agree on much. But if there's one philosophy many of us share, it's that we must understand our past to build better futures. Maybe I couldn't have prevented this tragedy, but I can't help but mine the past for clues of what was to come. If only to stop it from ever happening again.
Isla sacrificed everything.
Hey, Eric. I'm so sorry for your loss. How are you holding up after everything?
Thank you, but I don't think you want the real answer to that question.
I really do. You look like a pot about to boil over, and your people need you focused.
I knew Kenric Stanold was incompetent, but this... I didn't think he was capable of this. He deploys my entire team, spreads us thin on no information. A plan that requires utmost secrecy, he did, swearing we would be given what we needed to know when the time was right. And then, nothing. A big speech, empty promises of victory, and the dawning realization among my team that we were a distraction. Meaningless forces to draw the Surgeborn's attention. And at that, we succeeded. While Kenric, goddamn Stanold, ran for his life, they descended on my people like vultures swarming a corpse. Good people died because of that man. Good people will carry scars because of that man. It should have been him.
I know you're not one to shy away from a fight, but you should have known better than to go toe-to-toe with that thing.
Casmin, I'm all right.
That's not the point, Bryn. I was really scared.
I know.
All the other ways that fight could have ended keep playing out in my mind. I can't make it stop.
We're all here. Safe and sound.
Everyone but Isla. It could have easily been you instead of her. Next time, it could be you. Or Aurea, or Lane, or...
That's not going to happen. I won't let it happen.
It might though, Bryn. It could.
Hey.
Hey.
How do you feel?
Okay now. But it was touch and go for a while. Lane will probably never forgive me. For that matter.
I knew that fight. The spindle, giving her life like that. It'd be on your mind all night. How could it not? And I've been mulling over what to tell you this morning. I had a speech planned, but you don't need a speech. You're like me. It'd ring false. So I'm going to tell you what I'd need to hear after something like that. You did good. It was an awful situation, but you stood up and did what needed to be done without hesitating. Not many people have that kind of grit.
You're right. I think that was what I needed to hear. Thanks, Aurea.
You deserve it. You've come so far in here. We've all had to adapt, but you more than anyone. Look, I know you, Bryn. You're made of stern stuff. You've the mountains in your bones. Any sense of doubt or being shaken is just snowfall. Temporary, and it'll slide off soon.
That was the part you practiced, right?
Yes. But that doesn't make it less true.
Okay. Okay. Thoughts on what we do next? We obviously need to deal with that beast. But where to start?
We need to get everyone together. Our band, Arakim too. And I want you to call the meeting.
Me?
Yes. You.
I know everyone's up in their heads right now, but we have real problems to solve. So let's clear the air.
Are you running this discussion, then?
She is.
Sev, this has to start with you. We knew you were working with the Eye. We told you we'd have your back. Help us understand what happened. Just breathe, Sev. Start from the beginning.
I'm sure Bryn and Sola told you all. But I belong to an order called the Norians. We're sometimes called the Watersmiths. Imagine my surprise to learn our talents had been critical construction of the tapestry. Our order binds us to always help another Norian. Especially a high-ranking one like Stanild. And to keep their secrets.
So that's how he sunk his claws into you.
Why is the Order so secretive?
We've always been critical to the survival of Taza. Water is life in the desert, and we control the flow of water. The Elders have a secret political chokehold on the kingdoms. The altruistic Norians will tell you the secrecy is so no one can undo our work. But I have my doubts. And so, the Order operates in the shadows. I imagine they were much the same here in the Enclave.
What did Stanild have you doing?
It was all work on repairing the Grand Gate. He'd heard about our success with the gate in the Hollow and felt I might be able to replicate it. Thanks to your help, I was able to do so. And he took me more into his confidence as a result.
Did you leave the Norians to become Sola's apprentice?
One never really leaves the Norians. Not with their life. If word got out about me betraying Stanild, I'd be a dead ram walking. But no. My people have a ritual known as Ram Bralem. It is a time to pursue another path. And Sola was kind enough to accept me for mine.
It's true. I knew it could be temporary, but was hoping you'd stay on after.
The most important thing is whether we can trust you.
Yes, Sev. Convince us.
I swear, nothing I did was intended to cause harm. Too many of my order are political animals. But there is real good to be found among the Norians. Craftspeople who just wish to perfect their art. To bring water to people in need. To experiment, but need the resources to do so. Unfortunately, too many of those resources are controlled by people like Stanild. They're all the same. They see a point of control, water, information, wealth, and they abuse it. I thought the secrets were a necessary evil for some great purpose, but seeing his chokehold on the Enclave, its stagnation, you all have every right to distrust me. I am sorry. No more secrets. I just can't do it anymore.
If you can't be a Norian, then what are you?
If you'd have me, I'd like to stay.
Those of us who have been here longer than Sev. Thoughts?
It's hard to have divided loyalties. But you did the right thing in the end, and if you hadn't, we might all be dead. That takes courage.
Still wasn't quick enough.
I don't know what to make of any of this. I want to believe you, but it's hard in the uncertainty surrounding us.
We've all had a very tough time since we came through the Veil. I would have grabbed for some kind of normalcy or order, too.
You are all heard. And I would add that you joined us under false pretenses, Sev. You had loyalties outside the band you never disclosed.
I have a hard time accepting that he kept so much from us, but shared so much with the Eye. Who knows what Stanild, or God's help us, the Talon heard about us? Only time will tell how much damage that's done.
Lane, I hear you and I understand. Sev has real work to do to rebuild trust. Only you can decide when the apology feels real to you. Sev, that considered, you have worked tirelessly since joining us, and demonstrated an enterprising spirit and deftness as a smith. And before the blade could completely fall, you risked all by blocking it with your own hand. You can never be a Nori again. I do not sense that you wish to be. And who are the Weavers but a group of outcasts and misfits, just trying to muddle through together? You will stay, and you will help. We have work to do. Tell us about Stanild's plan.
Thank you, Horia.
This has been a rough ride for us all. This entire situation is, but not us. We're Weavers, Sev included, and rolling with the punches is what we do. But here's our challenge. That Talon. It spoke. It knew things it couldn't know about us. We're on the back foot and need to catch up fast.
Then let me, as Horia said, Help. After I repaired the gate, Stanil took me completely into his confidence. He'd been questioning and learning from the Talon. Or so he thought.
Not realizing he was being manipulated.
He was increasingly estranged from his daughter. I'd wager he was desperate for a friend.
I'd agree. Based on what he'd learned from the Surgeborn from his friend, he put together a plan.
Use my people as a distraction to pull the bulk of the Surgeborn out of the underworks. All while he used the gate to... what?
There is a place, deep, deep underground, known as the Source. A feat of engineering unparalleled. It's the secret to the Enclave's power, the abundance of magic, the heart of the tapestry. There was only a single loom gate still connected to the Source after Asylum cleared all connections. And I'm the one who repaired it.
The Grand Gate would take him right to the heart of things, then.
Exactly.
Stanil thought he could... what? Sneak down there and fix things somehow? Tear down the veil?
His hope was to go down and secure a working space, sealed off from the distracted Surgeborn. He wanted to eventually fix things with the help of the Spindle. All glory to his family.
That arrogant idiot.
He'd read in his personal archives there was a system designed to shut down the Source. In the hopes of discovering how it worked, he had been feeding information to the Spindle about it in drips.
Meaning she might have been working on a fix for the Source without knowing it.
Then we have to pursue her research, clearly.
Good. But we still have the problem Stanil never saw coming.
Which almost certainly will be unkillable if it operates like every other Surgeborn. It's hard to imagine any place more full of tangles than the literal source of the magic that's overflowing.
On that, I have an idea. If I'm right, we might be able to turn the tables and remove its advantage. I'll need Bryn's help if that's all right with everyone.
Of course. If it gives us a chance, we have to take it.
I agree.
Has anyone just thought to ask the Talon?
What would we ask it? Favorite color? Favorite way to disembowel Ashar?
No, she's right. It has clearly demonstrated an interest in Bryn. Maybe she could pry some information out of it.
I'm not sure I'll get much. But I'm also sure I'm not going to think it's my friend. So, worth exploring?
Then we have a path forward. Sev will pursue his thoughts on dealing with that beast.
My people have started calling it the Herald.
Of destruction?
Why not both? As I said, people are on edge.
Fine. Sev pursues weakening this herald. We work with the Axle to look into the Spindle's latest research. And if she feels like it, Bryn has a chat with our imprisoned Surgeborn.
As good a path forward as we are going to find. Let's call it here and get to work.
Bryn, I examined the wreckage at the Grand Gate after everything that transpired there.
Found something useful?
The kinetic strand, in fact. The Ark must have torn it from the Herald's pattern in the chaos of the battle.
Think we could weave it into my mantle?
I don't see why not. Its pattern appears to be quite similar to those found in wild creatures and Archons.
All right. We need every advantage.
Then let's get to work. And we're finished. This will be quite the powerful addition to your mantle.
How so?
This strand can twist kinetic magic into a tunnel. In battle, you could push debris or enemies through it and send them flying through the air quite forcefully.
Could I jump through it?
I suppose you could?
Hey, there's a lot of tall buildings, flying creatures. This is going to be great.
You're right. Just try to be careful.
trees.
I appreciated your candor in the meeting, Sev.
It was terrifying. Wasn't sure I'd be allowed to stay. You didn't get to voice an opinion with the others. Are we?
All circumstances aside, you saved the day. Solar and I said we had your back, and it paid off. Quick thinking having the scry open.
I knew something was wrong the moment that thing started talking to me when Stanild wasn't around. It was very focused on you.
Me?
So much so that it said the only way the plan would succeed was if you talked to it. It reeked of trap. I didn't survive a decade around Tarzan Norians without picking up when someone's holding a knife behind their smile.
But you still took me down there.
Sorry. An educated risk. I felt there was nothing it could do and wanted the whole band to hear it talk. I don't think it understood we have the scry.
And Stanild wouldn't use one, of course.
The Talon was his deepest secret. Whom would he tell?
Can you tell me more about Stanild's plans for once he went through the Grand Gate?
He was counting on Isla. She was exceptional at protective fields. But even then, no. I don't think he had a real plan. The Talon had convinced him he'd be able to survive, and fool that he was, he trusted it. But I have a theory. You know how the weather sometimes skews wildly hot and cold?
Right. The aeroliths.
What else do we see on similar cycles?
Miasma.
Exactly. So, it follows.
You think the aeroliths are able to affect raw magic somehow?
I do. And in Stanild's private records and designs. I found notes, specifically on aeroliths with Norian commentary.
You think the Norians were involved in their creation?
It would certainly explain why Tarza had such access to aeroliths before the Surge. If I'm right, this might be the key to making the source survivable.
Fewer tangles means less dead me. Absolutely. Well,
You'll need to head to the Watersmith area of the Institute, and I'll guide you from there.
I hate to do this when we're already dealing with something like 7 distinct major crises each day. I've got 2 pieces of bad news. Which one do you want to hear first?
the second one.
Excellent choice. We have a stove problem. We use specially enchanted coals to maximize burn time and minimize weight, and we're dead out of them. And second, the stove itself is dented. Rather badly.
What? How did that happen?
I don't know. I don't do stove maintenance. I'm the logistics girl. Maybe Sev sat on it.
He's still got bum fur, so if he did, it wasn't on.
Regardless, this is a Dam and Solar fix. One problem each.
I'm not sure they're in the best place right now.
That's why I'm asking you. They both love you, and can be grown-ups for the good of the group. Oria's already sick of salad.
I'm sorry.
For what?
You saw through the eye from the start, and I doubted you when I shouldn't have.
I have experience dealing with slimy, over-promising leaders, so foresight was on my side there.
I'm serious. I didn't realize he was capable of this.
No one could have predicted he would be manipulated so thoroughly. That level of incompetence is hard to foresee.
The Eye is the highest position of leadership within the Enclave. The most progressive place in Ada.
One we've been told stories of our entire lives. It's become mythic.
The more time we spend here, the more I realize that those were practically fairy tales. I allowed myself to be blinded by his title. I need to be sharper next time.
The spindle sacrificed everything for us. We could have...
Lost Ren just as quickly as we lost her. We didn't.
You are hardly in any position to make lofty demands. The Council convened and unanimously stripped you of your role. You no longer hold the privileges of the Eye.
And how quickly did you convene that council? You hardly waited for my daughter's body to cool.
She is dead because of you. Because of your reckless behavior and deception, no less.
Hirun, how dare you? Every decision I've made, every action I've taken has been for her protection.
Abandoning her at the Grand Gate was for her protection. We all saw you on the scry. And that is Khan Arteme to you, Kenric.
Is this a bad time?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
No. You're more than welcome at Cassidon's Hold. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you.
I came to offer my condolences. To both of you.
Oh. Thank you.
In the end, she was braver than any of us could have imagined. She took a stand and did what she believed was right. I owe her my life.
She was... exceptional. It's hard to imagine the Enclave will ever recover from this loss.
Then why are you so opposed to giving her the funeral she deserves?
With the Surgeborn swarming Denevron, we can't risk a trip to the Hallowpire Rise.
For generations, every Stanild has received the right of ashes upon death. Isla will not be the exception to...
Could I perform the rite on your behalf?
You? Don't tell me you're a Hallowpire priestess on top of being a righteous pain in my ass.
Skies, do you want a funeral or not? She's our best option.
Isla saved my life. I want to help you honor her death.
I suppose you do owe her that?
Fine.
For the rite of ashes, you need to burn an object that was sacred to the deceased upon the high pyre. As you collect the ashes, you must read a rite aloud to thank the flames for bringing the deceased to rest.
Do you have an object that was sacred to Isla?
Isla's most prized possessions aren't in Cassidon's Hold. She had a secret refuge in Dredger's Mire. You're sure to find something. She was always sneaking away at night to work there.
You knew she was sneaking out of Cassidon's Hold.
I knew my daughter better than she realized. Return to me with the ashes.
Thank you, Bryn.
Ridiculous! The Stanilds have been receiving the rite of ashes at the Hallowpire Rise for generations. That Hirun doesn't want to send a mourning party is an insult to her memory.
That's not fair. You know Khan Arteme would love to give Isla.
Don't say her name.
All I'm saying is the Axel lost someone too. You don't need to make this harder on her.
And who, pray tell, is working to ease my pain? The answer is in the silence. No one.
Arakim mentioned you wanted to compare a mantle with Matteo Agretius?
We'd like to see if he might be my father.
All right. I've set his mantle aside for you. I'll need yours too, and the pattern tracer to perform the test.
You all right?
A little nervous.
I have to say, your mantle is spectacular. Matteo's easily pales in comparison.
Oh, thank you. And, is he my father?
No, I'm sorry. It's not a match.
Oh, I see.
Hey, we'll keep looking. Maybe now it's time to talk to Lane?
You're right. We should consult with them. I just thought... I'll see you back at camp.
Hey, I can't imagine how you must be feeling.
I am broken. Everyone wants a piece of me.
Because you're in charge.
For now. I don't know how I'm supposed to carry on like this. Without her, my support is gone. She wouldn't want me to cry.
You can if you need to. I know our Weaver Band is still fairly new here, but you've got our support.
The funeral will honor her memory. Even if it's not what he wants, she would understand that it's enough. One day at a time, Bryn. That's all we can promise to ourselves.
You mentioned you were in charge. Does that mean you're the new Eye now?
So the council is larger than just the... As you heard, we convened and unanimously agreed that Kenric had overstayed his welcome in the role of the Eye. So he's been stripped of that, and by default, that means I'm in charge. Emergency authority. Am I the Eye? No. And nor do I particularly want to be right now. But when the time is right to hold elections, we'll do so. We need to break this cycle.
What cycle do you mean?
Council seats weren't permanent before the surge. That idea was Kenric's. And it's clearly not worked out for us. So again, once we've solved this crisis, we'll chart a new path. Assuming we survive. After all, we could all be dead this time next week.
refuge. It's actually not too far from Lucia's workshop. Isla dedicated her life to restoring the Arks. Darm's right. We will need to continue her research. For now, what makes it a secret for the right? A letter from the Axel. I should take it back to her. A toy Archon. That's sweet. Do you think this could work for the Rite of Ashes?
It's perfect.
Huh. Isla also had a copy of On the Workings of Archons, marked with annotations. Just like Dia's. Wait, I'm losing you.
You hear me better now?
Yeah. Weird. The scry was cutting out.
Strange. At any rate, the book could be useful. Once you've completed the ritual, I'll take a look.
I'll need to place them on the high pyre. Sad to burn such a sweet toy. Now to collect the ashes. Though the flame abates and the ash grows cold, let she who worshipped you rest in eternal warmth.
Mutebread.
Are you sure I was?
There it is again. The scry is cutting in and out. Dom? Arya?
Can you hear me now?
You're back.
While you the ashes to Cassidon's hold, I'll analyze the scry. Something strange is afoot. Ah, good. We're all here.
Yes, we're here to talk.
Anyway, stove's not working. Campfire sucks by comparison. How are we fixing this?
Yes, please, let's talk about the stove.
How did we run out of coal anyway? I spent 2 days in Varentia working on that last batch.
Sure, but then we ended up in the Enclave. So now we need to find more. Also in the Enclave.
I don't easily have the materials to process another batch. But the temple might have some. I hate to admit it, but that was the one really evil thing I took out of my time with the Church of the Hallowed Pyre. They know their fuels.
Great! Temple. But what good's coal without a proper place to burn it for cooking? Sola?
If we're able to find coal like before, then it'll just be a case of reforming and reinforcing the old stove. I will need a few materials. I'll draft up a list for Bryn.
Good. Excellent. We're moments away from hot food. Go team!
So I'll...
Go team!
I was really hoping we'd find my father among the statues, but it's time to expand the search. You were right, Lane.
I often am. Let's build a census of male Oberon in the Enclave within a limited time frame that makes sense for your birth. Knowing your father had to have been here when the veil went up narrows our search significantly.
Time to chase a paper trail. Between the two of us, we'll find your father.
Yes.
I know you were really hoping he was a Weaver hero. It's okay if you're feeling let down.
No. Silly.
Stop saying that. It's not.
Our archival work might not be the most glamorous way to chase down a lost relative, but it is effective.
You're right.
Bryn, would you...
Check on Sev? Always. But how are you holding up?
I'm all right. Just worried about him, you know? He did the right thing in the end, and he seems to have come back to us for now, but all those issues that led him to the Eye in the first place, they aren't solved in a day.
He needs us now more than ever.
Exactly.
I performed the rite, and I I brought you the ashes.
Thank you, Bryn. Isla admired you. She would be honored that you did this for her.
It's not how she would have wanted things. I should have been there.
Enough! I know you're grieving. We all are. But you are no longer the Eye. And this disrespectful conduct ends now. You owe Bryn a thank you. An apology for that matter. And probably a great deal more than that. Not only has she gone out of her way to perform the rite for your daughter, but she saved us all from certain death at the Grand Gate too. None of which she would ever have had to do if it weren't for your...
For my actions! I know! I know! It's all my fault. I should have been there. Not at the temple. At the Grand Gate. I should have stayed. The way she looked at me when I left her there. Never forget it. I could fill a city with my mistakes. I should have supported her work. I should never have lied to her. My regrets will drown me.
Maybe they should.
Maybe they should.
My mother used to say, you can drown in your grief. It is unfair that you lost a child. No matter, I am so sorry that happened to you. But now you have a choice. You can spend the rest of your days counting the ways you failed your daughter. Or you can dedicate every breath you have left to her.
How?
Just do one small thing a day that would make her proud to call you her father. Start by helping us finish the work you wish you had supported in her life.
It's too late for that, I'm afraid. If you'll excuse me. But there is one thing. The Ark in your camp, the one she wanted to restore. It's called the Ark of Verdance. An enchantress named Lucia de Crassus built it.
Lucia.
Consider it a thank you for what you've done.
Is there anything else you can tell me about the Ark of...
Please. Just leave me be.
Fine. I understand.
You're going to speak to the Talon?
I don't expect to get much out of it, but yes.
Be careful. Clearly the Talon was able to manipulate Kenrick. And while I know you're not the idiot he is, speaking to that thing is risky.
I just have to find out what I can. If the Talon has any insight that can help us.
It's a risk worth taking, I know. Just don't reveal anything in the process.
I knew you'd be back. Dreadfully predictable.
And here I thought I surprised you. Or was your herald getting kicked back to the source part of the plan?
Don't steal credit. Your great icon pushed us back, not you. And I'm quite certain it didn't survive the battle. Judging by the way you charged straight to the Grand Gate upon hearing my plan, you favor misguided heroics. Let me guess.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Let's not lie to each other. I like you.
Can't say the feeling's mutual.
Come now, on to be confidants. Friends, even.
Fine. Let's be friends. Why don't you tell me what the Surgeborn are after so I can help you get it?
I need you. Don't lie to me. But because my offer of friendship is genuine, I'm after the same thing you're after. Magic. And the power that comes with it.
But Surgeborn already wield magic.
Not nearly enough of it. You know the lust for magical power is insatiable. Why else are you risking everything to tear strands of it from behemoths?
I'm not power hungry.
Don't lie. Especially when your actions betray your words with such ease.
How did you end up down here anyway?
I let myself be captured.
Why?
It became apparent that I wasn't going to uncover the secrets behind the Enclave's power by razing its capital to the ground. Oh, I do miss the razing. Still, I needed intel that I could only get from the inside. So I allowed myself to be captured and waited until the leader of the Enclave came to visit me alone one day. Kenrick had influence and insecurities, making him the perfect target. It helped that he assumed our herald couldn't pass through the Grand Gate when he staged his attack.
How did it get through? The resonance modulator should have filtered out Surgeborn.
You didn't have a sample of that particular Surgeborn.
In my experience, Kenrick Stanold isn't exactly the trusting type.
I played the part of his distressed prisoner. Please don't hurt me. I'll do anything you ask. I'll tell you anything you want to know. Just let me live. He was all too willing to believe I was helpless. After all, that would mean he had power.
The Hearthsiders believe you were born out of the Surge. Is that really where you come from?
I will keep some secrets to myself.
I thought we were friends.
Not yet. But we will be. And when that day comes, I will share more with you.
Kenrick Stanold is in rough shape after being your confidant.
I would never treat you like I treated him. You're different. Special. Trust me. In time, you'll consider us kindred spirits.
Doubt it.
See you soon. The rite of ashes you performed for Kenrick's daughter was quite a display. I almost shed a tear.
How do you know about that?
I have eyes everywhere.
You're watching me through the other Surgeborn.
There are no other Surgeborn.
Almost like the way bees work together in a hive?
If that makes it simple for you, close enough. Anyway, pity you couldn't save her. Is that why you dropped everything to perform a funeral rite for someone you barely know?
She was a friend, and you murdered her. Don't expect to survive long enough to kill someone else I care about.
Technically, I did not kill her. Her limitations are what destroyed her in the end. Funny how magic often provokes overreaching in your kind.
What are you talking about?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
You deserve better from him. But that was probably all he's capable of. Come to think of it. We all deserve better from him.
What will you do now?
Take care of my people. Someone needs to. And you? You're going to try to fix the arcs.
The Ark we followed through the Veil. We have no idea what it was doing outside the Enclave in the first place, or even how it got us in here. If we're ever going to stand a chance of leaving, or bringing down the Veil, we need to—
I wish I could help, but arcs were Isla's expertise, not mine. That arc allowed you to pass safely through the Tangles, where Surgeborn go to regenerate. If you're going to try to fix it, consider me heavily invested in your progress.
It's too great an advantage to ignore. I'll keep you updated.
I need you to know, nobody else has been checking in on me like you have. I feel as if I'm alone in the stifling dark. But you are a bright light, even though everything is very hard. I need you to know that I see what you're doing. Thank you.
Of course. It's just the right thing to do.
You, laying Isla to rest, is what she would have wanted, despite what her father said. You inspired her to be better, braver. It respects her memory to the fullest.
It was the least I could do.
Don't diminish your contributions.
You've got our support, whatever form that takes.
For what it's worth, I appreciate that.
By the way, I found something that you might want to see. It's a letter I found in the Spindle's hideout. I didn't read it.
I don't understand why you've been so kind to us, Bryn.
It's okay. I'll let you get back to it, all right?
Likewise.
Dom, the interference I'm experiencing during expeditions is concerning. Any idea what's going on with the scry?
Not yet. The interference is certainly strange, but I'll need more time to analyze it before drawing any conclusions.
As long as it doesn't give out on us completely in the meantime.
However, I have taken a look at the Spindle's copy of the workings of Archons, and thankfully, the writing is far more legible than Lucia's. And her notes are significantly less paranoid at that.
About that, Kenrick Stanild told me that Lucia wasn't just tinkering with the Ark we followed through the Veil. She built it. The Ark of Verdance.
That is quite the revelation. What was it for?
That was all Kenrick could tell me. Or wanted to tell me. But Sev mentioned that Kenrick had been feeding Isla information about a failsafe for the source. Could the Ark of Verdance be the fix she was working on without realizing it?
Yes. Yes! That could be it. Genius, Bryn. On my side, I dug into her notes. She was working on a way to fully restore our Ark for us. She was so close to a schematic, intricate, elaborate, masterful. And I finished it. Sola has the final design ready for you. Essentially, we'll be creating a power core for the Ark. Most notably, we'll need a special part, a bar of shaped coral. This is the final key for an Ark to be functional on its own without a Weaver channeling magic into it.
If we had built a power core earlier, could her death have been prevented?
She only made this discovery in the final days of her life, through researching all the Ark parts we had supplied her. Her research even theorizes that using one's own magic to power an Ark for brief amounts of time could result in death.
So she knew she was going to die at the Grand Gate?
She knew exactly what would happen, and did it anyway. That's courage.
We can't let it be in vain. So, then the Ark of Verdance is our failsafe. Your design will get it running. Where can I find the shaped coral?
She suspected it was kept in the Archon's hearth, stored near natural coral deposits for its regenerative properties. You performed the Rite of Ashes beautifully, Bryn.
Glad to hear it. Not being part of the church myself, I felt a little out of place.
I'm sure Isla is at peace.
The rite I read mentioned shrouding the spindle in an eternal warmth. Is that in reference to an afterlife?
Yes, although the Reformed sect do believe in an afterlife, it is featured more prominently in Orthodox Hallowpire beliefs. The idea being that the Great Fire is an ethereal, divine being which cannot be fully comprehended in this life, and who waits for its followers beyond this lifetime.
The Eye asked me to collect the ashes from the altar on his behalf. What does he intend to do with them?
It depends on the sect. But often the ashes from the ritual are interred with the body in a burial site. Other times, if it's a prominent family, which the Stanholds seem to be, the ashes are housed in a family mausoleum. Tragic, of course, that a father must do this for his child instead of the other way around.
A religion founded on fire seems like a natural draw for weavers. Was there no experience in Renland?
Hardly. In Renland, magic was ostracized. And there, it was viewed as unnatural corruption of fire. Pure ignorance. That's why I've turned my back on it for many years. But you're right, that the Stanholt family's religious beliefs are notable. The prominence of the church in Upper Denevron suggests the weavers here held it in high regard.
I appreciate your perspective on it. But I'd better let you get back to work.
Before you go, thank you for laying her to rest. You could have just paid your respects and left, but it was the right thing to do.
That's enough Diane's chorus. Just need to grab those ink caps, and I'll have everything Lane asked for. If I pick up any more of these, I'll have to spend an entire day scrubbing the ink off my hands. Anyway, this should be enough of everything for Lane. The Bastion. Lane said to look for regiment records.
Judging from the size, it could have been a route for Argon's.
Perfect. That should be the last of them. Appreciate the chance to test run your scry.
That's as far as I can push the scry.
Another kinetic strand.
These are the regiment records Lane asked for. My father told me stories about how instrumental the Oberyn were in the wars for Carnhaven's independence. They would glide behind enemy lines, struck with precision. Census records. The pivotal piece of the puzzle, as Elaine would say. Others might call them dull. defenders. Maybe Oria's father is among them. My old point, Aaron, used to boast he could sell an Oberon their molted feathers. Ugh. What have you got for us, Lane?
I've narrowed it down to 3 likely candidates. A Hallowpire priest, a farmer, and the last military commander prior to the evacuation to Cassidon's Hold.
A military commander sounds promising. How do we narrow down which of those 3 is my father?
That's where we step away from the books and do some investigating. Bryn?
I'll check the garrison, the market, and the Hallowpire Rise for any traces of these Oberon. I brought you a bag full of what looks like Arthur's breakfast.
The ink caps and Sprig Diane's chorus. Lovely. And Oria didn't have any problems with Watcher's Wisp.
She noticed a pretty immediate improvement. Seems like it worked a treat.
Wonderful. I'll keep on producing the solution for her then. Another project on my to-do list. How delightful.
We're not overloading you, are we?
Quite the opposite. If I only had one thing to think about, I'd be tearing my hair out in frustration. This suits me. For example, since this began, I've been thinking about what else I could do with those glowing plants you collected. Perhaps I could mix up glow-in-the-dark ink, for example. My focus is on utility, though, and one must ask, would glow-in-the-dark ink be helpful? What do you think?
Maybe you could use it to mark a creature.
For hunting purposes?
Yeah. So you tag one, and it would leave a glowing trail back to its lair.
Fascinating. I wouldn't have thought of that. You have a powerfully tactical mind.
Well, you know, anything to make my job easier.
I don't know if I could ever make the ink glow long enough for that to work, but I like the way you think. Nevertheless, I will keep you abreast of any developments, though I think this project may fall by the wayside in favor of more pressing concerns for now.
Absolutely. Do you need anything else? If not, I'll leave you to it.
Not right now. Thank you for your help.
Anytime.
Ever since we learned of the Verdant Mines, I haven't been able to stop thinking about them. They were clearly well-resourced in regards to both labor power and knowledge. And they had an extremely intimate knowledge of the Enclave's technology. But do you know who was around to see their rise and fall, but hasn't spoken a word about it?
The only leader incompetent enough to invite a massive Surgeborn onto his doorstep.
The very same. I just think it's interesting how he's kept quiet about it. Don't you?
I don't expect much from him.
I don't know if he was involved with the events surrounding the Verdant Mines' attempt to take down the Veil, but he certainly bore witness.
So what are you thinking?
I'd like to send you out on a fact-finding mission for now. Meanwhile, I'll pore over my existing research for clues.
No matter what we find, I doubt we can burn any more bridges with the Eye at this point. I'll let you know when I found everything you're after.
Thanks, Bryn. I'll get to work here, too.
This treaty is...
One never quite forgets that smell.
Temple coal taking you back?
Unfortunately, yes. It conjures up images of stern keepers, hot stuffy vestibules, and ranted invective posing as sermons on the evils of it was everywhere in Renland. The church has the nation in a stranglehold, and so I left at considerable speed. I don't think I really stopped running at all until...
Until you met the love of your life.
Yes, I thought so.
It's been a strain on you both.
I'm sure everyone has noticed.
Need an ear?
Maybe. It's clear she yearns to just stay here in the Enclave, even if we brought down the veil. But I find comfort in the road. It has few preachers and no community dedicated to strangling out individuality.
Worried if you stop moving that it will catch up with you?
I suppose I am still running, in a way.
Does she not?
It's not something I want to burden her with.
She's strong, in a lot of ways.
Right. Yes, I shall.
It's significantly easier to do a repair, working up a new suit of armor from scratch. I'm going to go soft.
We could use some really intricate chandeliers to brighten up the place.
Casman would be happy. Though, I strongly suspect this entire thing is an elaborate ruse to get Dom and I talking.
It's not like her run out of things, it's true. Is it working, do you think?
I don't know. The intentions are good, but I'm hurting.
I think you both are.
Yes. But I'm the one who's been following his dream of wandering the Maida for years. And the moment I say, hey, maybe we could do something else, he shuts down.
You're right. That doesn't seem fair.
It isn't.
He didn't have a great reaction to what you said, it's true. But at the same time, he was rather caught off guard.
Well, perhaps it was a little abrupt.
Maybe he deserves a chance to have a second reaction?
You're as bad as Casman. Speaking of, we should see her and present the fruits of our labors.
Things still good with our fire problem?
All handled. You did great out there. But now we have another problem. Madame Silverbeak. Seriously? I said it while you were out there, and the look she gave me.
Oh no, you didn't!
Oh, yeah, I did. And I shall never again. But well played, Miss Bryn. But it was quite the experience. Your scry is not at all what I'm used to. It's better, more vibrant. I compared notes with the spindle after your evening excursion. She agreed that your scry just feels different. Had to go hands-on to be sure. Anyway, sincerely, thank you for your help. If I need more, I'll know to just ask this time.
I had a chance to run a test, and I would say our stove is cooking better than ever. Keeps the heat well, burns clean, a job well done.
Dom's always been very good at treating that kind of coal. Must be the Wren in him.
Hardly. No, I simply find my inspiration in...
I think...
I... Sola, I have an idea.
Oh?
Tarmakind uses exceptionally precise temperatures to work the metal, yes? Sometimes exceptionally high?
I mean, yes, but...
I finished Xavier's journals. He was quite thorough and talked extensively about working with the Halopire priests.
Nothing quite helps me commune with the flames like someone slamming a hammer into metal.
You'd be surprised. But I imagine Dom means the shrine underground. I saw it mentioned too.
Precisely. And perhaps we could lean on our intrepid point to investigate.
Of course. I'd be happy to.
They must have kept records. Samples, perhaps.
I really appreciate this.
Lane believes that a priest could have been Oria's father. I better look around. Found a diary belonging to the priest.
Anything of note written inside?
From a quick skim, it details a vow to pledge himself to the first flame. And only the first flame.
Ah, I see.
I'll look elsewhere. The Archon's hearth once more. Isla was here to guide me.
I could assist in her absence.
What the?
Bryn, what?
Aurea, the scry has been compromised by the Surgeborn. Stay off it.
Compromised is such a strong word. I just want to talk.
There's a lot of coral here. I must be getting close to where the have stored shaped bars. Will the Surgeborn know our plan when I pick it up? I guess that's a risk I have to take.
What are men looking for in the Archons? I know the end of it is my region.
Like I would tell you.
Whatever plan it would be better if we worked together.
Murdered my friend.
Technically, I didn't touch her. It isn't my fault she lacked the stamina to follow through on what she started. Whatever you're planning to do with that is nothing compared to what we could accomplish if we put our minds together.
I can manage well enough on my own.
You could do so much more than manage.
The Surgeborn in the Howling Jail somehow has access to the scry.
We know. I can feel it in there with me. It's not pleasant. We need to do something fast.
The good news is, as far as we can tell, it only has access when you're in the underworks. At most, it seems to cause interference when you're above ground. We don't think it can listen in.
Until we can block its presence, best to keep use of the scry to a minimum.
Aurea, I could feel the Surgeborn too. I know exactly what you mean.
Doesn't feel great.
The kind of nausea that only comes from the wind being knocked out of you.
It takes a lot out of me to stay connected to you when it's present, let alone speak.
That must be why there's interference.
What you're both describing, it makes me wonder if the Eye was under a deeper influence from the Surgeborn than we realized.
How so?
We assumed he was merely manipulated into a foolhardy plan, but what if the Surgeborn had some sort of effect on his mind?
I could believe it. But if that's the case, then we need to limit Bryn's exposure to it through the scry. Fast.
And yours.
I don't think it's me the Surgeborn wants to influence. From the sounds of it, it wants you.
Weavers need a physical connection to the scry to communicate, either by wearing the earpiece or touching the scroll. The Surgeborn doesn't have either, so how is it connecting to our scry?
Well, let's start with what we know. The imprisoned Talon was able to convince Stanild to open the gate. But the Herald was there and waiting. It was not surprised at all, despite the Scout's distractions. Ergo, the Herald and Talon were communicating somehow, yet the Talon had been imprisoned for years. Would it not be reasonable to suggest the Surgeborn can communicate with one another using something like our scry? Or worse, perhaps they can share thoughts needing no magic at all.
A single shared consciousness.
The implications are frankly staggering, but it is the only explanation I can think of for what we've observed. And if I'm correct, it's not such a leap to imagine creatures like this, or perhaps a creature, would be capable of infiltrating our scry.
Let's hear it. How bad is all this?
The scry is a complex piece of Weaver enchantment. That this Surgeborn has broken in is not good.
We still don't know exactly what it wants, but if it continues to infiltrate our constructs, this could mean an all-out war.
War?
Imagine they gain control of the Enclave's arcs. Sure, they're dangerous now, but with a sentient strategist behind them, they could storm the Maida in a couple of hundred strides.
You think the Surgeborn's interests expand beyond the Enclave?
With an enemy as calculated as this, best to assume the worst.
All right. How are we going to fix this?
The reason Aurea can sense the Surgeborn presence on the scry is likely because it's wielding magic to communicate. The same way Aurea's mantle pulls magic from the air to contact you. However, unlike Aurea, the Surgeborn can't pull magic from the air around it. Otherwise, it would be talking to you all the time.
But it can only reach me when I'm underground.
Where the tangles are most dense. We need to cut off its access to raw magic.
That's where the spindle comes in. Thanks to her, we finally have the missing piece to get our escort here running.
It was a failsafe in the case that the source needed to be repaired. The Ark of Verdance will create a safe bubble against the tangles, which would be the natural consequence of any failure of the source.
Just like it did with the Veil.
Exactly. But without the crushing weight that caused it to fail.
So, the plan. We get the Ark to the source, it stabilizes the Enclave.
Or at the very least, starts the process.
If the Herald waiting down there doesn't destroy it first, I'll need to take it down, if this plan is going to work.
That sounds dangerous.
It might be a risk worth taking.
We have to. The Enclave is overflowing with raw magic, and this source is clearly the root of the problem. Too many tangles have led to the floods. They allow the Surgeborn to communicate and infect our enchantments. Without the source under control, we will never reclaim Enclave.
Then that's our plan. We build a power core, then we speak to the Axle.
I'll join you at Cassidon's Hold.
And with this power core, we can fix our Arc of Verdance. I think this is what they call a full circle moment.
Huh. Lately, I feel like I've been running in circles.
Hey, I know things look bleak, but this is a win. Don't let the Talon rob you of it. You're finishing her work, after all.
You're right.
I always am. Now, I think you've a meeting with the Axle.
Were you crying? Are you okay?
Yes. The rite of ashes just got to me, that's all. The spindle and the Axle only had such a brief time together.
It's awful. I can't imagine how she's feeling right now.
So much in life can be fleeting. It just makes you appreciate what a gift the time you have with someone is.
Lucia would make our prayers to be...
Sword and pull.
Hey, Bryn. Sorry, was lost in thought. It's this scry thing. It's been bothering me.
You said it felt different from the ones you're used to.
Yours was much more... intense than any we have. Have we overused them? I don't think so. Yours is at least as old and clearly has seen good service.
That does seem strange.
Yeah, I went digging through everything I could find about the Scries. Even tore into the Eye's private records after Sev pointed me to the right place. Dug up something promising.
A sudden burst of bureaucratic insight.
Yeah, yes, I suppose. Shipping records for Scries. There were some set to go out right around the surge.
Exports? To bands like ours?
Probably. Well, that's the problem, though. There's a lot of very specific shorthand on these manifests I just don't understand.
We should talk to Casmin. She lives and breathes shipping logistics.
I was hoping you'd suggest that. I was considering asking her myself, but...
She's a little intimidating?
No, that's Aurea. Casmin just seems busy. Always busy. And I don't want to overstep here with your crew.
We can talk to her together.
Okay, let's take that again. I'm sorry. I needed a moment to step back and refocus after going off about Stanild. I am, I think, okay now.
I'm impressed. Not everyone can pull themselves out of that kind of anger.
A hard-won skill. When I first made head of the Scouts, Stanild did everything he could to undercut me. His favorite trick was poking and prodding until I lost my cool. Always worked.
You've seemed pretty together around him when I've been there.
Yeah. I started practicing Valanshir.
What's that?
The intersection between meditation, bare hand combat and breathing exercises. There's a complete series of whole body motions, painfully slow, moving from pose to pose while controlling your breathing. But at the end, just before you reach the final pose, you explode into the final position, usually exhaling hard like, ha!
And that helps.
Oh yeah. It's a solid workout controlling your motions, but the real struggle is the mental focus, which can be exhausting, but after a few months of practice, it's like being able to slide into that calm headspace on command. Few deep breaths and Stanov can't touch me. Well, except when he puts my people in danger with his ego.
My mum used to say I could use some impulse control. Maybe I should get some lessons from you. And again, I'm truly sorry to hear about the losses. We'll make their sacrifices meaningful.
Yes, we will. Whatever it takes. Hey you. How's my favorite point doing?
Really well, like always. Thought I'd see how you were holding up.
Still reeling a little from the attack, but getting my feet back under me. Forces me to be up all day more often than I should. I should talk to Dharm about that, actually.
Dharm uses some kind of sleep aid. Lane could help you with that.
Oh, are they the secret weapon? I wondered how Dharm does it. I can stay up past noon regularly, but I wear down if I do it too much.
To be fair, I think that's just Dharm. Fueled by his love of enchantment and solar in equal measure. You should talk to Lane. I'd miss you if you were sleeping all day. I think Dharm splits his sleep so he can be up with Solar, and she does something similar. They make it work.
It's not like you have the most regular sleeping schedule yourself.
Are you saying you'd like to stay up to spend time with me too?
Yeah, I am.
You look thoughtful.
I've had something on my mind, actually. You have a moment to talk somewhere quieter?
Of course. It's nice to have a moment alone.
I admire your band very much, but do enjoy that my room in the hold offers some privacy and a door I can close.
Not a lot of doors around here, that's true.
Sometimes I just need to close out the world and think.
Speaking of, what's on your mind right now?
You, to a distracting amount. The way you move smoothly through life. How direct and certain you are.
I just try to meet people where they are.
That's also how you move when you fight. It's got an elegance. It's got strength. It's exceptional. And yet, I can't help thinking I shouldn't let my brain drift to you. There's big, real, deadly problems to solve. And we come from different worlds. You're so well-traveled, you've seen things, and I've been here. Just here. So, yeah. There's a lot of reasons it might not work, but I like you. A lot. I'm afraid to risk the friendship, but I need to take a chance that there could be an us.
Eric, I am incredibly touched that you think of me that way.
I sense a but coming.
Yes, you're a great guy, but I don't really feel the same about us.
I do. There's so much happening right now, I wasn't even sure I should bring it up. But I'd regret it if I never asked. And now I have. Still friends, I hope?
Absolutely. And always.
Good. Thanks for hearing me out and just for being honest.
How are you feeling after our talk?
We're still friends?
Of course.
Then I am fantastic. There's zero hard feelings here, Bryn. Sometimes it just doesn't click, and that's sincerely okay. Remember when we were talking about the Eye mobilizing? You said he's doing what we wanted, right?
I did. In retrospect, maybe.
No, it wasn't. We were playing a game, applying pressure. He responded. Poorly, of course. And even though it went terribly, we get to pick up the pieces now. Not some incompetent bureaucrat. All this time, the spindle was sneaking out of Cassidon's hold. And I had no idea.
Sounds like you two had more in common than you realized.
Just reminds me that you've got to tell people how you feel when you get the chance.
Was there something you wish you had told the spindle?
Not her.
It's a little bit beautiful. It's like reaching into the past and shaking hands with its design. We have achieved much.
I think she'd be happy to see it up and running.
I think so too. Plans set in motion decades ago. Slowly ticking towards fruition.
Have you noticed the struggle in our new friend?
Eric, you mean?
Yes. Every part of him yearns to be serious, mature, maybe a little dangerous. But show him something new, like a properly maintained scry, and it all falls away.
Revealing...
An excited, intelligent young man who craves novelty.
Think that's why he hangs around the camp so often?
That's definitely one of the reasons. That said, he knows he can't go back to it, but misses what you do. I wrestle with it too. I like being your watcher, but if someone handed me a potion to move back in time or be young again, well, let's say I'd give it some serious consideration. Either way, he's got a deft hand with the scry. I'll give him some pointers, but he's a natural.
Hey, Kaz. Arakim has a question.
Is that why you've been lurking around here? Bad habit, you.
Yes. I need some help puzzling out shipping manifests from before the surge.
Scries, secured export, dates. You think some scries never made it past the Veil?
Doesn't it usually take some time to figure that kind of thing out?
Yes, but I'm a genius. This is what I do, Bryn. We should run these down. The records here aren't complete, though. They don't confirm the shipment.
Any idea how we do that?
This is where Bryn does what she does. Off the top of my head, there's 3 places we should look. Drover's Gate in the lower city is obvious. Logs will also, I imagine the Bastion would track export of any and all scries, military applications. And we should canvass the Hearthsiders. Maybe someone still alive who worked the caravans. I'd ask the Axel. She'd know who to ask. And we're not welcome in the general populace at Cassidon's.
We have that in common. Impressive.
Happy to help. It's my pick for book club. I can't decide between a love story about a studious ram and an open warrior that couldn't believe it.
My light. I remember the day you were born, vividly. When I held you, my heart was so full it threatened to break. And I know your mother felt the same way. For all her flaws, she would be so proud of you. I am so proud of you.
Khan Arteme, my Weaver Band has repaired the Ark we followed through the Veil and discovered its true purpose.
To nullify the tangles at the source so it can be repaired.
Its anti-magic properties are why we were able to follow it through the Veil in the first place.
I see.
If we could get it to the source, we believe it could stabilize the Enclave.
Except the Grand Gate was broken when the Ark pushed the Herald back through it.
Surely there must be another way to reach the source.
Now that it's repaired, couldn't this Ark be used to leave the Enclave the way you came?
In theory.
What are you saying, Khan Arteme?
It's time for someone to protect my people. I need to use that Ark to get us all out of here.
You would leave with the Surgeborn running loose? Or worse, allow them to spread and wreak havoc across the Maida in your wake?
No one has succeeded in stopping them yet. We've been trapped inside the Enclave for decades. It's time to set ourselves free before the Surgeborn overtake Cassidon's hold and kill us all.
Is shoving problems under the rug truly the Enclave's legacy? Because it's a pattern at this point.
Agreed. Your people are better than this.
The Surgeborn has infiltrated our scry. It's learning how to use our enchantments against us. If we don't put a stop to this madness, how long until they overtake the Arks? Or bring down the Veil and spread across Maida?
That is concerning. Still, let's be clear. Even if you could reach the source, there's a massive Surgeborn that almost killed you lurking down there.
I'll be ready for the Herald this time.
And what are you going to do about all the tangles? Punch them before they disintegrate you?
Sev believes the Aeroliths can manipulate raw magic and are responsible for miasma. We think if we can control the Aeroliths, we can make the source safer.
Interesting. You've put more thought into this than I'd expected. But as you've said, you have no way to reach the source.
Fine. Our plan has a few kinks to iron out.
More than a few.
How about this? If you can just give us time to present you with the final plan, it'll be your call whether or not we move forward on it.
I suppose that's fair. I can't pack up this stronghold in a day.
One more thing. It's clear by now the Enclave hides its secrets well. If there's any information on the source, I need access to it.
There are private records that can only be accessed with the Eye's signet. I suppose he's not using it at the moment, but...
Bryn did just save your people from certain death not too long ago.
Fine. You can borrow it. You should find information at the Spire in Upper Denevron, the Bastion, and the Institute.
We'll arrange a meeting with you when we're ready.
Good luck.
I was hoping you could help me with an investigation. I'm looking for some missing scries.
Have you lost yours somehow?
No, but I have a lead on a shipment that went missing right around the surge. I was hoping you could ask around the Hearthsider homesteads to see if anyone was working the caravans when the veil went up.
Ah, and this is related to Arakim making a mess of our records, I assume.
Yeah.
Very well. I will ask around as a favor to you, Bryn.
You.
Hello to you too. Why don't you try greeting me with a smile?
How do you have access to our scry?
Magic.
Seriously?
Your scry is connected to Gloom Gates and by extension the tapestry, which spans all through the underworks. No system is impenetrable. I found a way in.
I want you out of my ear. Now. I'm sick of your voice.
And yet you came back to see me. Puzzling.
You're impossible.
Back again. You do like me, don't you?
Hardly.
And you've brought the Eye's signet with you. Keep it close, or we might just pluck it from you.
What would you want with the Eye signet?
To reveal the Enclave's secrets for myself, of course.
The Eye told you that?
He did. Funny how a man who has alienated everyone he loves through ego alone can be so talkative with a stranger. Though he certainly doesn't think he drove his ex-wife away.
He's never spoken of Isla's mother.
Heartbreak does funny things to your kind. Whatever that woman did, she left a bitter man in her wake.